Welcome to our channel Learn English with Podcast. Let me ask you, how do you spend your evenings after work? Do you relax, learn something new, or just scroll on your phone until bedtime? If your evenings feel wasted, you are not alone. But what if you could take back that time and make it truly valuable? Today, we have Luca and Maria with us, and they're going to share 8 practical things that transformed your evenings from unproductive to purposeful. Whether you want more energy, better sleep, or just feel like your time is well spent, this episode is for you. Luca, Maria, take it from here.
Okay, let's be honest. How many times have you come home from work, just wiped out and just crashed on the couch?
Yeah.
Completely exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
And then, the next thing you know, it's time for bed.
Totally.
And then, poof, another evening is just gone.
Yep.
Vanished.
Uh-huh.
And you had all these plans.
Right.
For personal projects or hobbies.
Right.
Maybe even just some downtime.
Yeah.
Some quality time.
Yeah.
Just for you.
For sure.
But the couch.
The couch.
And that screen.
Oh, yeah.
Is just too powerful.
Yeah. It's a pretty familiar trap for most of us, I think. This idea of having those wasted evenings is something we can all relate to.
Yeah.
But you know what's really interesting is this source that we're going to be diving into today. Reclaim Your Evenings.
Okay.
It argues that this feeling of losing your evenings, that it doesn't have to be like this. It's not inevitable.
Yeah.
And they actually put it into practice. They actually transform their own after work time.
Oh, wow.
And they have these 8 strategies that they say were super key to their success.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So it's not even just about being more productive.
Right.
Right. It's about getting back those evenings.
Absolutely.
For the things that actually are meaningful for you.
Exactly. It's your time,
Yeah.
So I guess to get started, where does this feeling even come from?
Yeah. Where does it come from?
Why do our evenings just kind of vanish like that? Well, this source points to a few things that are really common. Obviously, exhaustion. At the end of the day, your brain is just fried.
Oh, yeah.
But also, a lack of planning.
Okay.
A lack of, really being intentional with what you want to do. So we get home and we're just on autopilot.
Yeah.
And then, boom, hours are gone.
Totally.
And, of course, there's distractions.
Distractions, yeah.
Especially those digital ones.
Yeah.
Our devices.
Yes. I was just going to say, my phone.
Tell me about it.
My phone is such a black hole for my attention. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
It can be so addictive.
Yeah. So this person, the author, they were able to break free
Yeah.
from all of this,
Right.
this cycle.
Right.
And they started with something, that seems so simple.
Okay.
They made an evening routine.
Interesting.
They were talking about how just a morning routine can get you ready for a good day. An evening routine can help you wind down.
It's so fascinating, isn't it? How these routines, they just kind of work with how our brain already is.
Oh, okay.
We're creatures of habit. We like these patterns. Our brain, it actually craves those patterns.
Interesting.
So when you make an evening routine, you're not just making this list of stuff to do.
Right.
You're kind of taking away some of the mental effort. It's like you're putting your evening on autopilot so your mind can actually relax.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. The author even gives an example of their own routine.
Cool.
They would take a short walk after work and then have dinner, but no phone. No digital distractions during dinner.
Oh, interesting.
And then they would do a hobby or they would read before bed.
So they were very deliberate.
Super deliberate, yeah.
Yeah.
That walk, it's like a buffer between work and being home,
Yeah.
You come home from work and then you take a walk.
It's like a transition time.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a transition. And then putting your phone away at dinner.
Right.
So you're just eating. And you can actually taste your food.
Yeah.
You can connect with the people you're eating with.
That's great.
And then the hobby or the reading, it helps you relax.
Yeah.
But it also, keeps your mind active in a good way.
Right.
Yeah.
So every part of that has a specific reason.
I think so.
Yeah.
Which probably makes it much easier to, stick to the routine.
Right. Which actually is the perfect, lead-in to the next strategy, which is limiting screen time.
Yeah.
Screen can be so tempting.
I know.
Right. After a long day, to just zone out.
Totally.
In front of a screen.
Just completely check out.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it just makes you feel worse.
Yeah.
like even more drained and not fulfilled.
Totally.
And there's a reason for that. It's not just about willpower, like, just being lazy or not having enough willpower.
Oh, okay.
It's that technology, it's designed to be addictive.
Oh.
Like all those apps, social media, they want your attention. They're literally fighting for it.
Right.
And they use these really sophisticated methods to keep you hooked.
Really?
Think about like, when you get a notification where you see you got like on your post, you get this little rush,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's dopamine. And our brains love it. And they want more of it. So it's like we're playing a game that's rigged.
Totally.
Yeah.
So like how did they fight back against that?
Well, they did a few things. They took all the social media apps off their phone's home screen.
Okay.
That's a good one. And they actually used some of those app blockers.
Oh, yeah.
Like to lock themselves out during certain times. And they even like physically would put their phone in another room.
Wow.
When they were eating dinner or reading.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah. Like using tech to fight tech.
Ah.
Yeah. Think of it like you're building a fence around your attention.
Okay.
And there are a lot of tools for this. App blockers, website blockers, or even just turning off all your notifications.
Right.
The key is to like do it before you get sucked in.
Yeah. Be proactive.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have to be like all or nothing.
Oh, good.
The author even suggests just start small. Like try putting your phone away for just 30 minutes and see how you feel. You might be surprised. It can actually make a big difference.
Yeah. Speaking of feeling better.
Right.
The next thing they talk about is getting enough rest.
Sleep.
Sleep.
So important.
Oh my gosh, it's so important. We've all done it though.
Oh yeah.
Stayed up way too late, just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Mindlessly.
And then having to drag yourself out of bed the next morning.
Yeah.
But we don't realize like how much that actually affects everything.
Right. And it's not just about feeling tired.
Right.
Like you're not just sleepy.
Right.
It affects like literally everything. Like how well you think, your mood, how you make decisions, even your physical health.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There's a ton of research out there.
Wow.
About sleep.
Okay.
And it shows how crucial it is for us.
So what did they do to improve their sleep?
Well, they started turning off screens an hour before bed.
Okay.
They started using dimmer lights in the evening.
Oh.
And they made like a calming routine to do before bed.
Okay.
Like those are all things that are considered good sleep hygiene.
Okay.
It's interesting because by doing these things, having a regular sleep schedule and a routine to wind down, we're actually sending signals to our bodies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're kind of like telling our systems, okay, it's time to like start getting ready for bed for sleep.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like setting the stage for good quality sleep.
Wow. Okay. So an evening routine, limiting screen time, prioritizing sleep. Are you kind of starting to see like how these small things can actually make a big difference?
For sure. I think what's really emerging here is this idea of being intentional.
Okay.
Like you're not just letting your evening happen to you anymore.
Yeah.
You're making choices about how you want to spend your time.
It's about having control, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's really empowering when you realize that you actually have the power to make your evenings what you want them to be.
Right. It doesn't have to just like slip away.
Totally. It's your time. You get to choose.
But we're only halfway through all the things in this book.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They have 4 more tips to share.
Okay, I'm ready for them.
Each one kind of building on this idea of taking control of your time.
Awesome. Let's dive in.
Okay.
It really is taking control, Yeah. Like you're not just letting it all happen to you. And when you have that control, it's like, you're not so overwhelmed anymore.
Right, right.
Like those evenings aren't just slipping away.
Exactly. And the next tip in this book, it's like, it speaks directly to that, that sense of like being in charge.
Okay.
They tell us to take like just 5 minutes every evening.
Okay.
To plan the next day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they found that like writing down what they had to do for the next day, like the most important things, really helped them like not feel so stressed and anxious.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like you're closing all those tabs in your brain,
Yeah.
Like we all have that mental to-do list going all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Constantly.
And it makes it hard to relax and to really enjoy your evening.
Yeah.
But when you take those few minutes to plan things out, It's like you're taking all that stuff out of your head
Right.
and putting it on paper.
Yeah.
So you actually have space in your mind to relax.
And I bet it makes those mornings so much easier too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you wake up and you already have a plan.
Yeah.
You don't have to waste time figuring out what you need to do.
Exactly.
Like you're giving your future self a gift.
I like that, yeah.
Right.
A gift for your future self.
Exactly. You're setting yourself up to have a good day,
Yeah.
a productive day, less stress. And that feeling of being organized, it kind of carries over into the rest of your day too.
Right. Which brings us to a tip I think a lot of people will like really connect with.
Okay.
It's about having a hobby. Like the author was saying that they had stopped doing the things they used to enjoy.
Right.
They were always too tired or too busy.
But then they realized that they needed to make time for those things.
I think a lot of us do that.
Yeah.
Like we think, oh, I'll relax when I have more time.
Yeah.
Or I'll get back to that hobby when things calm down.
Exactly.
But the truth is, if we don't make time for the things that make us happy, the things that bring us joy,
Yeah.
we're really not taking care of ourselves.
It's like we forget that rest isn't just about like our bodies.
Right. Exactly. It's not just physical.
Yeah.
It's mental and emotional too.
Yeah. The author started reading again.
Okay.
And they even tried painting, even though they said they weren't very good.
Love that.
Yeah.
Because it's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about doing something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Just for the fun of it.
Yeah. It's like giving yourself permission to like be a beginner again.
Yeah, exactly.
And the author says it doesn't have to be anything like super fancy or take a lot of time.
Right.
It could be like gardening or playing music, knitting,
Yeah.
learning a language, anything you're interested in.
Anything that lights you up,
Yeah.
And that's where the motivation comes from. Because it's not going to feel like just another thing you have to do. It's going to feel good.
Right. It's like it energizes you.
Yeah. It's fulfilling.
Yeah.
So we've talked about having an evening routine, being careful with those screens, making time for sleep, planning ahead, and having some hobbies. And those are all things we can do on our own.
Right.
But the author also talks about how important it is to connect with other people.
Yeah. That's so important.
It is. And the next tip is about socializing, but like with a purpose.
Okay.
So they talk about how they used to just be on social media for hours
Oh, yeah.
and thinking, oh, this is being social.
Right.
But then they realized to really connect with someone, you have to actually talk to them, not just see what they posted online.
Yeah, it's like this fake connection, right?
It is. Social media makes it seem like you're connected,
Right.
but it's not the same as being with someone in person.
Exactly. Like the author started making an effort to call their friends or meet up with them
Good.
instead of just liking their pictures.
I love that.
Yeah. And they started being more present during family time.
Thanks.
Like even just a short conversation at dinner felt better than hours on their phone.
It's about quality, not quantity,
Yeah.
Instead of trying to stay in touch with hundreds of people online,
Yeah.
you focus on the relationships that really matter.
That's a good point.
And that's where this idea of having more meaningful conversations comes in.
Okay.
It's not just small talk. You're really listening to the other person
Yeah.
and sharing things with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good for you.
And it makes me think about the next tip.
Okay.
About taking time to be mindful and reflect. The author realized they were always rushing around,
Right.
never slowing down to think about their day or just be in the moment.
Yeah. It's like we're always on the go.
Yeah. And that's where mindfulness comes in.
Right. Like just paying attention to what's happening right now
Yeah.
without judging it.
Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of research now about the benefits of mindfulness.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It can help with stress, focus, even your emotions.
So the author started doing mindfulness stuff in the evenings.
Exactly. To help them, go from that busy day to feeling more relaxed.
Okay.
Sometimes they would just sit quietly for a few minutes and focus on breathing.
Okay.
Other times they would write in a journal or write down things they were grateful for.
So like different ways to be more present.
Exactly. And focusing on your breath, it kind of brings you back to the present moment.
Okay.
And thinking about things you're grateful for, that helps you appreciate the good things in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about slowing down and being still for a bit.
For people who haven't tried mindfulness before, the author says just start small.
Yeah, definitely.
Like just 5 minutes of quiet or writing down 3 good things about your day.
It's about finding what works for you and then making it a regular habit.
Yeah, it really is amazing, like how just being a little more mindful can make such a big difference.
Right.
Yeah. And, speaking of doing things with intention,
Mm-hmm.
the last strategy in this book is all about making time to learn.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
We often think of learning as something we do in school,
Yeah.
or like if you go back to school.
Right.
But this author, they really want us to think about learning as something we do our whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
Always trying to learn new things and improve our skills.
Yeah. Lifelong learning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like this big commitment where you're spending hours and hours studying.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Like they found little bits of time in their evenings to learn something new.
Okay, cool. Like what kind of stuff?
Well, for example, they started listening to educational podcasts
Oh, yeah.
while they were making dinner.
That's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
And they took a few short online courses
Okay.
about things they were interested in.
Oh, that's cool.
Even just reading articles about a new subject felt like they were using their time well.
Right.
It's pretty amazing how our brains can keep learning and changing.
It is.
We can keep growing,
Yeah.
And when we learn new things, it's like a workout for our brains.
It keeps it sharp.
Exactly. It keeps our minds active and engaged.
And there are so many ways to learn now, too.
I know, right?
That are easy and don't cost a lot.
Mm-hmm. Online courses, podcasts. You can get books from the library.
Yeah.
So many options.
Yeah. And this author, they said it's not about becoming like an expert right away.
Right.
It's about those small steps you take.
Yeah.
And over time, they add up.
Exactly. It's about being curious
Yeah.
and being open to learning new things.
I like that. So, okay, let's go back over the 8 things we talked about from this book.
Okay.
Reclaim your evenings. We talked about having an evening routine, being careful with screen time, making sure you get enough sleep, planning ahead, having some hobbies, connecting with people in a meaningful way, being mindful, and making time for learning.
Wow. That's quite a list.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff in there.
I think what's really powerful about this book is that it's not trying to tell you exactly what to do.
Right.
It's more like giving you some ideas, some tools.
Yeah. A framework.
Exactly. And you can choose what works best for you.
Like, find the combination that fits your life and your goals.
Yeah.
And they remind us that these things take time, right?
Oh, for sure. You're not going to change everything overnight.
It's about taking small steps.
Exactly. Like those tiny habits, those micro habits.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to do everything at once, you focus on one small change at a time.
That's way less overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right. And eventually, all those small changes, they can really add up.
And, when you start seeing those small changes work, it keeps you motivated.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like,
Yeah.
it makes you want to keep going.
It does. It does. And, this author made a really good point about how what you do in the evenings can affect your whole next day.
Oh, really? Like how?
Like if you spend your evening doing things that are good for you, things that make you feel good, you're going to wake up feeling more refreshed
Right.
and ready for your day.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
We have to remember that taking care of ourselves is important.
Mm-hmm.
It's not selfish. It actually helps us be better in all areas of our lives.
So it's like an investment
Yeah, you could say that.
in yourself.
Yeah, your well-being.
And I really liked that question they asked at the end.
Oh, which one?
Like, how can using your evenings in a better way not only make your next day better, but also make your whole life more fulfilling?
That's a good one. Really makes you think.
It does. It's like a reminder that how we spend our evenings really matters.
Yeah, it's not just time to kill.
Right. It's time to do things we love, to connect with people,
Absolutely.
to work on things that are important to us.
It's about creating an evening that feels good,
Yeah.
and it sets you up to live the life you want.
So as we finish up this deep dive into reclaim your evenings, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
What's one small thing you can do tonight to make your evening a little bit better?
You deserve to have evenings that make you feel good. Evenings that make you feel refreshed and inspired.
So you can really embrace everything life has to offer.
At the end of this podcast, let's do a quick vocabulary recap. First is exhaustion, means extreme tiredness or lack of energy. Second is frustrating, means making someone feel annoyed or upset. Third is productive, means doing something useful or achieving a goal. All right, listeners, it's time for the self-assessment test. Ready to see how your English skills are doing? Take a moment to answer the questions and don't forget to share your score in the comments below. Now the last question is a tricky one. If you get it right, I'll be cheering you on in the comments. But if it's wrong, no worries. I'll drop the correct answer to help you improve. So let's get started. Answer honestly and share your score with us. I can't wait to see how you do.
Thank you for watching. Your journey to better English and unstoppable confidence starts here. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep growing together. See you in the next video, champion.